Hi everybody, Matt Geary for Geek Question Time, episode 3, and I'm here with the guys from Sneaky Zebra. We've got Gaz. Say hello, Gaz.
Hello, Gaz.
Gaz, right? That's my new name for you, by the way. You're Gaz now. Because I just like Gary, it's like Gaz. Gaz.
Unfortunately, I do like Gary because it's my name. That's fine. I don't care.
Fine. We'll officially we'll call you Gary from now on.
No, you can call me Gaz. Everyone else
dead.
I'm being a dick, okay?
But, you know,
this is a really good start.
You know, my old boss didn't like being called Andy. His name was Andre, and he really hated being called Andy. So it's just like, right, I will call you. If you want to be called Gary, that's fine.
No, you can call me Gaz, Gaza, Gal,
Ditchy.
And we've obviously got Nick as well. How's things, Nick?
Hello, good. Coming to you live
From
somewhere.
Your kitchen?
Yeah.
Broadcastville, one of the two.
Yeah. I've got everything going on. This it annoys me how plain my wall is compared to what you guys have got going on.
Well, you know, I've obviously got the ultimate sort of geek man cave thing going on here. Then we've got Gary's like sort of slightly down there with his phaser gun and his mug thing that lights up.
I should put out there is a pile of stuff like completely off screen, or I have like a He-Man sword and stuff. So.
Well, I think show us. We have to do the camera. Show us the camera.
The camera's attached to the computer. Do you want me to go get the He-Man sword? Is that how this is going to play?
Get the He-Man sword. Get the He-Man sword. Show us. We do not believe you. Getting the He-Man sword.
Blonde.
Is that going to keep you happy now?
You come back with, whoa. You got to say it now, Gary. I have the power. Do it.
No, I don't. You have the power. You made me go get the sword.
Brilliant. All right, so Sneaky Zebra, tell us about yourselves. For all of those people out there who don't know who you are, which I'm sure there aren't very many, explain what Sneaky Zebra
are. We make short films, sketches, parodies, videos, YouTube content, and anything that we find ridiculously funny, and hopefully you guys do too.
And you've got quite a successful YouTube channel. How many subscribers you got?
This week we will hit 120,000.
120,000.
Which is scary.
Wow.
Very scary.
Wow. That's mad. And how long have you been going for?
2010.
So not that long in the grand scheme of things then. 2010, 4 years isn't very long.
No.
Now you've given it a number. It seems long, Matt, so well done.
Well, I think Geek Pride's been going for about 3 years. So 4 years, and especially with that many subscribers, and with what you obviously have achieved and are doing at the minute, is quite impressive. So, yeah, there we go. Okay, so what have you been doing recently then? So what has Sneaky Zebra been up to over the last couple of months?
We're recovering a little bit from spending 2 months out in LA and stateside, which was absolutely awesome.
And it's not the first time you've been there either, is it?
No.
Living the life, ladies and gentlemen, living the life.
I really wish there was a very uncomfortable couch and a very uncomfortable floor.
Oh, you mean no 5-star hotels and like and prostitutes and loads of liquor and
there was liquor stores and there was prostitutes, but we were on a couch on the floor and we had no money. So
they were walking past us every time. Actually, last year we also did LA, and we were flying back from Las Vegas, and it was the last day. We only had one night in Las Vegas, and I think between us, or I had like $40, and there is nothing more depressing than being in LA than having $40 to your name, and you get all these guys coming up to you trying to solicit you to the club, like, oh, we'll get you this limousine to the strip joint, and there'll be all the girls, and it's like, yeah, I got a tenner.
No, but better than that is, I think you lost your tenner on the only fruit machine you tried to use.
Yeah,
you put your money in, you pulled the lever 3 times, and then you were done. And there was a woman who was clearly spent about 4 hours gambling, who just looked over, shook her head at you, and then went back to her game.
Oh, poor Nick.
Vegas dreams. Vegas dreams.
You completely machine off the whole thing. Oh man, so we were out there recently. What were you doing out there recently?
San Diego Comic-Con. Or San Diego. Yeah.
And you were on the panel for that, not this year, but last year, yes?
Yes, we were.
Yeah, that's
I,
Insane.
how mad was that? Like, did you
Well,
kind of shit yourselves, basically?
We got the
we
phone call.
didn't know.
Yeah, like we were going to get to the planes. We had a taxi cab that I think we were heading over there like midnight or like something ridiculous like that, and we got like an email going, oh yeah, by the way, you guys are on a panel. And like obviously in our heads we're like, oh, what do you mean by panel? And it's like the only panels I've seen are like rooms with like 5,000 to 10,000 people in them, and people sitting with a white backdrop. They can't mean that. And they did mean that. So there was like we like checked and they were like, yeah, it's an actual panel, and there's just us. Yeah, that'd be great. What could go wrong?
That was mad, man. Like even just seeing photographs and stuff of you guys, I was like, I know them. I know those guys. Wow.
It was honestly like whenever we got there, it's kind of weird because you're standing backstage and there's people like Freddie Wong was on it with us, and there's even him freaking out about going on this stage. It's like, if you're freaking out, well, how do you think we're feeling? We have no basis for comparison, but it is the strangest experience ever, because as soon as you're up there, because you have so many lights pointed at you, you can't see the amount of people sitting there. They just disappear into blackness. But worse than that, you can't hear what anybody sitting beside you says, because every speaker is faced away from you. So when you're sitting up on that panel, it's awful, because somebody asks you a question and you sit there and you kind of go, I hope I heard that right, because otherwise I'm going to seem like a twat in front of all these people.
How big is it? Obviously, we're used to, like, MCM in London is quite a big con for us, but in comparison to that, what's it like?
I think the panel room we were in was as big as the room for, like, London Film and Comic-Con the other year.
That's got to be pretty intimidating.
Well, they said they had 3,000 seats in it, and then you had people standing up at the back and was queued outside to get in, and it's just, yeah.
We like to think that was because of us. It really was.
It was definitely because of you guys. Not because of all the famous people beside you. It was definitely for you.
It wasn't because of Chris Hardwick or Matt Meyer or Jonah Ray or Freddie Wong or Chloe Dykes. Basically, everybody else in that panel, apart from us.
How did that happen? So obviously, I know, but explain to other people. This came about how? So you went from I wouldn't say obscure, but sort of kind of lesser known sort of YouTubers to something that was a lot bigger now. And how did that transition occur? What happened?
I think it started with Prop Wars was the big one for us, because basically we, for those of you who don't know, you get kind of like YouTube networks who kind of team up with people. We used to be with Machinima, and we were looking for a new one and looking around, and we put out that week Props, which went really, really well. And we were talking to someone there, and Chris Hardwick saw it and went, I want you guys on our network. And next thing we know, we were in talks with them to be able to, like, you know, join with them and be on the Nerdist Alliance, as they call them. And that's how it all kind of started from there. And then, you know, as a little thank you for joining, they got San Diego tickets, and we basically spent every single penny that we could on a plane ticket and flew out there last minute. It was crazy.
Fucking hell, man, that's mad. Was it like one of those moments where you're just sort of kind of going, this is not real. This just didn't happen. This is a dream.
I still think that now, despite the fact we've done it twice, that I'm completely convinced I've never been to San Diego, and I've just, like, dreamt the whole thing. Just because even whenever we were there, none of it seemed real. It's like, no, we're still sitting in the back garden making a video, right? Like, we're not here.
Do you know what sort of kind of reminds me? When I see you guys sort of going to that San Diego Comic-Con on that panel, first thing that went into my head is when, like, Sean Pegg and stuff from Paul, you know, when they're on the panel, I was like, my God, that's just like that. That was the first thing popped into my head.
You know the amount of people that went, oh yeah, Paul, because I think the first time we went over, Paul was on ITV or something, and I had like 9 people send me a message going, oh, you're in San Diego, just watch Paul. It looked like you.
Brilliant.
We even stood at the same archway of that opening and the crossing and did like the same thing. and it was like, yeah.
So, what interesting people did you meet when you were over there?
Oh, wow. I mean, what's for the first time round, or
Whatever. Let's say the
just
last
in
two
general?
times. Who were the top sort of say 5 people you thought I'm so glad I
think
met them?
the first time round, who did we the first like the first time we met Chris Hardwick slightly before, but
Yeah.
I
He came
think
up to London, didn't he?
yeah, and he did the little intro video with us like 6 months before we joined the network. But
Yeah.
I think for me, like the first one that I met that I spoke to was Freddie, but I met Freddie without you, Nick, because you were off filming something, and my
Yeah,
introduction to Freddie was like the worst introduction ever. As they went, oh yeah, meet Freddie, and he was like signing autographs and taking pictures of people, and they were like, they had me wait around for a bit. The guys at Nerdist, they're like, oh yeah, hey Freddie, I'm Gary, I'm on this panel later on with you, I think. I just wanted to say hi. I don't want an autograph, I don't want a picture, so I said my piece, now I'm gonna fuck off. And then I walked off. And then after
You
he's like,
actually said that to him?
yes.
Oh, I think you're really cool. I'm gonna go now.
This is basically, yeah, we're on this thing with you. They said we should say hi just so it's a little bit less awkward next time, and now I'm gonna fuck. Literally, I remember saying the words, now I'm gonna fuck off. And he just went, okay. And then, like, the one good part was then whenever we went into the green room for the thing, he knew who we were, which was, oh, you're the dude who came over and said that to me earlier. I was like, oh, okay, thank God. Just, you know who I am now. Who else did we meet that was really cool? Like,
We met, I was gonna say on the Nerdist stuff there was Jonah and Matt, wasn't there? Because we were completely lost as well, like San Diego, because we hadn't met up with the team yet. We actually didn't know who half the Nerdist team was. We knew our contact. We said, oh yeah, someone's got your tickets over this way, and we didn't know how to. And we were wandering through the halls, and like Gary goes, oh, that's Matt Myra and Jonah. And we kind of went up to him and went, hi, we're these guys. And they went, oh yeah, we know you guys. And it's like, that was a really, really surreal moment where they go, oh yeah, we know you. And it's like, but you're the famous people. And then they
Welcome
pointed
to the
us in the
big
right
league,
direction.
fellas.
yeah. Well, I mean, the one this year that I got the most embarrassed by meeting was Nick was filming, and I was standing watching him film, and then whenever Nick comes through, like if anybody's seen Nick filming, Nick has no like awareness of where people are sometimes. So I like try and go, oh, you're gonna want to be careful because he'll come running through here in a minute. And like I turned around to say, oh, you want to be careful, mate. He'll come running through here. And I turned around, there was Sam Whitworth standing beside me. At which point I just stood there and I just went, you're awesome. And it's like the first.
Did you just
Yeah,
turn around and go, you're awesome?
I did that twice, I think. Nick witnessed me doing this. I did to Zach Levy as well, where we were walking out the lift and Zach Levy held the lift door open for us, the guy from Chuck. And I was just like, you're awesome, dude. Like, walked out and Nick went, who are you talking to? I was like, that's the dude from Chuck. Just
Wow.
right there. That's all I could say was, you're
You
awesome.
did that several times as well, didn't you? Because like the previous year, you kept running into him, and you're like,
I ran into Zach Levy about 4 times. I was standing crossing the road with him twice. I just kept bumping into him.
I'm kind of thinking Gary made this up.
If you hadn't witnessed it, then. Oh, and then Michael Rooker, we saw him as well. He was pretty cool.
You met Michael Rooker? Whoa.
We say met. We got a lift with Michael Rooker.
Wow.
Too nervous to say anything because he just
Yeah.
got that 10-yard stare on his face all the time. We did.
Yeah, what do you say to these people? It is like, you just sort of like, well, I don't know what to say to you. You kind of set in your head, if you met these people, what you would say to them, and then it just goes.
Yeah, no. What you say is, you're awesome, and then you don't say anything else. And you take a selfie with them because they're really cool. And then you immediately apologize for the fact you just went, you're awesome, because they're genuinely nice people, and you've just made a spot of yourself.
Good. It's short, it's to the point, and you don't make an idiot of yourself. You're just saying, you're awesome, you're stating a fact, you get a selfie just to prove to other mates, I just met somebody else.
I guess in my head, there's the one celebrity that I always want to meet, but I always think has the really like the best method of doing it is Nathan Fillion. Which Nathan Fillion, his methodology is don't come up to me and say, hey, I'm a big fan and all this. He goes, walk past me and just go, Captain. And he goes, and if I want to talk to you, I will choose to talk to you. He goes, or, I will always acknowledge you. He goes, but if I'm doing something, I'm not going to stop. And I was like, that's the best way for a celebrity to be with that. You know, it's like, oh yeah, I'll talk to you if I have time, but don't run over and go, hey, how are you? I really like Firefly. I like this. Talk to me now. So I try and be like the guy. If I walk past somebody famous, I'm like, I'm not going to be that guy. I'm going to be the guy who's cool.
Yeah, he's like, I'm totally gonna be. He's gonna be like, wow, this guy is
Yeah.
amazing, and I'm gonna totally be his best friend forever because he just said something that blew my mind.
Of course, if William Shatner walks past me, I will become that guy. I'll just drop to his feet and bow. I'm not worthy.
This is completely random, but obviously I see the phaser in the background, and you mentioned Shatner. I'm guessing you're a Star Trek over Star Wars sort of guy then.
I like both equally for different reasons. I grew up on Star Trek. But yeah, I love both. Hence why I wrote a lightsaber versus a phaser into a video.
Yeah, that's very true. Obviously, are you a Next Generation man? Deep Space Nine, the original series?
I grew up watching Next Generation, but I like Kirk and Spock. I'm an old school thing. I like the Star Trek movies more than anything else, I think.
What about you, Nick? What about you, Nick?
I'm more of a fan of the Fett. If those who didn't get it, I was waiting to say that. I was waiting. I'm similar, you know. I'm not too much of a. I don't let one spoil the other because they're both great. They're both amazing, and like you know, recent years, the J.J. Abrams, the first Star Trek one he did. Let's ignore Into Darkness, but the first one he did, fucking brought it back into the day and age.
I haven't seen Into the Darkness yet. The first one I thought was amazing. The second one.
You know what? Just leave it at one.
Really? Is it that bad? Is it that bad?
It's a film you never want to watch with me.
Oh no! Yeah. Really?
I tell you what, if it was his own film, it would be awesome. The trouble is it's
a remake of
remake,
Trek.
But they tried not to remake it, but they did remake it, and that's the thing is like the great thing about Star Trek 1, JJ that did, he opened this universe to be able to go absolutely anywhere in it. You know, they rebooted it without destroying all the previous years of Star Trek. And then they went, oh yeah, we're just going to remake this film. No.
Just literally almost word for word in parts from other Star Trek films.
Apart from
part of you not going to go, ooh, geekgasm, he's using it from that film because I know.
Oh no, because it's so badly used.
Oh, okay. Oh, I hate that, man. When you sort of kind of go, I haven't seen this film, and then people are, don't watch it, and then part of me is just like, I'm gonna watch it, and then you're so disappointed that you watched it.
Nick did that whenever I spent about 2 years telling him not to watch the Green Lantern film because it's the biggest pile of shit ever created, and he still watched it.
I still had to. Just to experience that for myself, that film.
Oh, I suppose you have to, I guess. You know, you just can't take it for other people's word for it. You just got to do it, you know. Throw in and, you know, hate it for your own self.
It's the equivalent of me shooting myself in the foot with a gun, handing you a handgun and going, don't shoot yourself in the foot, and then you did it. Like, that film is that bad.
Brilliant. You know how classic I am. You know that would probably happen.
Yes, that's true. It would.
We seem to be going off on a few tangents here, but do you think Ryan Reynolds will make? You know, obviously, they're thinking about making a new Deadpool film after that that sort of little tease with Ryan Reynolds. Do you think he'll sort of do a good job? Because he did Deadpool in what was it? Wolverine
X-Men Origins.
Origins. Yeah, that one, yeah.
He was the only thing I liked in that film at the start of it, and then it went bad. So. Possibly, because they're going to make it a PG-13 or something, which I just kind of sit there and go, oh, please don't.
I think that's the thing. I think Ryan himself would be awesome. It's just what they do with the ratings on it. That's the trouble. If you've got to have fun with it, you just got to.
Yeah, that's very true. I'm back. Sorry, we're jumping back again because we were talking about J.J. Abrams, Star Wars, the new Star Wars. What do you think? You think he's going to do well? Obviously, we've seen clips of bits and pieces that are on the set. Do you think it's going to be exciting, something we're going to really enjoy, or do you think it could just be lighting flare everywhere and something?
I think it's going to be awesome, and I don't think he'll use like lens flare and stuff like he does in Star Trek, because he is, as far as I'm aware, a massive Star Wars fanboy. Like, the reason he took Star Trek was because he kind of sat there and went, well, I'm never going to get to do Star Wars, and now he gets to do Star Wars. That his one is going to be like the most expensive fan film ever made.
One thing I've noticed, there seems to be a lot more props and backgrounds and things, less CGI, which I think they overused in the last three films. Quite quite a lot. Now this one
Yeah.
seems to be big props and things like that, and I think
Well,
back to the origins.
yeah. Well, it's like the issue with it is like George Lucas. He was always more interested, I think, in the technology of making films. So his stuff, whenever he did the old films, like, oh, we created visual effects, we worked out how to do visual effects, and then we invented this and we invented that, and then he made 3 films, which, thanks to George Lucas, we now have HD cameras, and the Red and the Arri Alexa are all because
Really? Is that because of it, Lucas?
yeah, because of the Phantom Menace was the first film that had to get all cinemas had to buy digital projectors to replace
way.
film projectors because of him, and then like James Cameron backed him up, and then obviously then he pushed forward CG characters with Jar Jar Binks, and so basically all these things that we hate, like he pioneered a lot of stuff, like full green screen sets and all these kinds of things. But then I think the thing was he cared more about that than making a good film. He just cared more about what can we invent. He's like a mechanic.
So do you think that's a good? Do you think that's a good thing? Obviously, being filmmakers yourselves, you can kind of see it from a different view. Obviously, being a fan, you sort of kind of go, "Oh, why the fuck did you do that?" And that Jar Jar Binks is a fucking idiot. Whereas you're looking at it, he's an innovator. He's doing something different. Do you see it from that angle?
That's the way I always kind of see it now. Is that from like the filmmaking side, he pioneered a bunch of stuff that we now take for granted. But from the fanboy side, he made the Ewoks look like fucking Shaft.
Oh, brilliant! I have never heard an Ewok being referred to as Shaft before.
That's a nice spaced quote for everyone.
Brilliant! Oh shit, is that on Spaced?
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah, you wouldn't think I liked Edgar Wright stuff, would you?
Oh, brilliant. Okay. Wow,
the
that's
cool thing is, like, with the JJ stuff, like, recently there's this real kind of reboot of making cool looking proper sets. Like, you look at Guardians of the Galaxy, they built a lot of it practical. Prometheus, they had some amazing fucking looking sets, and that's what I quite like as well, is that there's people out there now that are kind of going back to a bit more traditional in terms of sets and models and scale and stuff, rather than going, oh, we'll just fix it in CGI.
So what about yourselves?
That's one of the things I'm quite looking for.
When you're making, obviously, when you're doing your films and stuff, obviously ones that need props and things, would you opt for props or would you opt for CGI yourselves?
I would always, if we could afford to do it, I would do everything practically. I love practical stuff. I watch stuff like Terminator and RoboCop, and I'm just like, why would we build a CG version of this if we can build a Terminator that can like walk and turn its head, or it's not as good whenever it's a CG thing. I mean, look at Jurassic Park. Although there's like CG stuff in that, it's amazing whenever you have all these completely, like, they made a dinosaur, and every time I watch it, it looks real. I can physically touch it.
I think that when they get a good sort of happy medium as well, sort of like in Lord of the Rings, where they scaled a lot of models and things, and they had a good thing. Now, obviously, Lord of the Rings looks slightly dated now, which is annoying, but it's the fact that I just loved watching all the behind the scenes things of Weta Workshop making all the different scenes and like literally putting so much detail into things. It's just like, that's a piece of art in itself,
Oh, I mean, that's the thing as well, is like something they build in a computer, it just doesn't, I think it's because there's detail in it, but there's no love put into it. Like, nobody is kind of putting in all these hours of effort, and there's no like human error to it, if I put it that way as well, where we were building this model castle and something went slightly wrong, so we had to change it. But on a computer, they can make it perfect.
Basically.
Yeah.
CGI is too clean. It's not human. It doesn't have sort of.
And as you say, like Lord of the Rings is like a great example of like them using it with all the stuff that they used to do with film, which is kind of what I hope they do with that new Star Wars film, is that they kind of bring back, you can still use all these cool things that we've come up with now, but we can still use the stuff we've been doing in films for like 50 years.
Yeah, happy medium. Right.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with those, and then you can improve them with visual effects.
This is very true.
One of the things we managed to do when we were in LA, we got a tour of Legacy FX,
right.
Which is basically the guys now from Stan Winston School. So you got Stan Winston School is the kind of the educational, the tutorial stuff, and then Legacy is the actual practical. They go and make the stuff for films. And they gave us a tour, and they had, the Ironmonger, the original Iron Man Mark 1 just laying around, and Terminator, and I can't even remember like half the stuff they had laying. And it just
like,
looked so good. So,
Sorry, did you
go on.
you wallied out there? What did you say that last piece of game didn't get you?
Yeah, so like they had the Iron Man, the Mark 1 suit through to, I think they had like the Mark 3 there, was it?
They had the one from Iron Man 3 there as well, but I think that was just for display purposes. But yeah.
But they just had these amazing costumes and suits and practical effects. They had the Terminator. They had
the original one from Terminator 2 that steps on a skull that has all the pneumatic rods and stuff in it. They still had.
Wow.
Like it's so well built, it has survived this long.
And they made that awesome robot that's in one of your videos, which which you're using in potentially in a new video.
It is not potentially. It is in a new video.
Okay, I didn't want to know what was okay to say and what wasn't. You see, so I don't want to kind of go.
To be honest, I think the cat's out of the bag on this one.
Well, do you want to explain about that then? So you've got a new video coming out in the next week or so. Or
Nick, should hopefully be. There's one final piece we're waiting for, which is just to do with the behind the scenes stuff. But the video itself is done. A few tweaks, but done. But yeah, we got to work with Stan Winston School, so we got to work with like Matt Winston, Eric Litoff, and the whole team there. Legacy FX, who built the big giant Geek Week robot thing, which was just phenomenal. And then we filmed it all in New Deal Studios, and New Deal are famous for doing all miniatures and stuff. So Santa miniatures earlier on, like they had, in Inception. Have you seen Inception?
Yep, I have indeed.
Inception, the big building on the mountain that explodes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was something they built and just had laying around in the background, and it was something. They were actually they were working on some stuff for Interstellar whilst we were filming next door. We're like, I want to see the stuff. That was like obviously a year ago now. So
Interstellar looks like a good film. I think that'll be quite a good one. What do you think?
I like Christopher Nolan, but I get the feeling that's one of the films that only Christopher Nolan can make, because no one would ever fund it if it wasn't him. It was like Inception as well. It's just such a wild idea. Could you imagine any like new filmmaker going in and going, I'm going to make this? And like a studio go, not a chance. You're not making it. We're not giving you money.
Guys, I've got a really good idea. I'm in a dream, and then I'm in another dream, and then I'm in another dream. Wow, that's really crazy. Get off the drugs, man.
But as soon as you've done, 3 or 2 Batman films at that point, like Warner Brothers just like, yes, a dream inside a dream inside a dream. Here, have money inside money inside money.
Brilliant.
But Interstellar just looks great, Or it'll either be really good or it'll be alright. I apologise for my terrible McConaughey joke.
Oh man, that's right. I got it. It's okay. I got it. Did you watch? Talking about McConaughey, did you watch True Detectives?
No, I've not seen it yet. Everybody keeps telling me it's amazing, and I should really watch it, and I will.
It's really good. It is really good, and I think McConaughey and Woody Harrelson do a really good job in it. It's just
they recast it for the next season, didn't they? Because apparently each season is different people.
It's a shame. I guess I suppose you can have different people. It's a shame though, because they were quite good characters, and you're not going to be able to see where they develop from there. But that was good.
Because I got intrigued by it, because everybody said it was really cool, and then I think the next one is just like the most random casting I'd ever heard of, which is like, I think it's Colin Farrell and Vince Vaughn.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
And I'm just like, oh, okay, I kind of want to watch it, because I'm like, I kind of want to see Vince Vaughn try and not be Vince Vaughn.
do you get that, where you have certain characters and you know what they're like, and then when they're in, it doesn't matter what film they're in, they're like, you're just him,
Vince Vaughn is just Vince Vaughn, as far as like, I watched Swingers again for like the first time in like 10 years the other week, and it's still just Vince Vaughn.
That is literally one of my favouriteest films of all time. I do not know why, but literally I have so many fond memories of Swingers. I love that film so much.
It is like a film school film, just because of like the way it's made, and it was like no money involved in it. But I love every second of it. Like the behind the scenes on that is brilliant.
Have you seen the other one they made called Maid? It's basically,
no, I've not seen that one. Yeah, no.
It's the same. It's basically the same. It's all the same sort of people and stuff, but they're basically trying to be mafiosos and stuff, and join the mafia and stuff. And it is quite amusing. It's not as good as Swingers, but yeah, it's quite good.
Oh, I'll have to check it out.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. Well, All right, so you've got a new video coming out very soon.
Yeah.
What's the next step? What have you got next after that then?
We've got conventions, haven't we?
Oh yeah, are you at the Winter Film Comic Con this week? Is it coming?
It's this weekend, yeah.
You heading
I'm
down?
not going. No.
You just done Play Expo.
Pardon?
You just done Play Expo.
Yeah, I've just done Play Expo, which was really good. We've had a discussion about it, but I'm not sure. Have you guys ever been up to Play Expo? I don't think you guys have been up Manchester way before, have you?
No, we're not going to the wall.
We're not north of the wall. We're protecting the wall, all right? We're protecting the wall. We're the reason you're all safe down there in King's Landing. But no, we've always had quite small sort of conventions up here. Obviously, being up near the wall, people don't want to come up here and stuff. But it was so good, and it wasn't it was different in that it's all about retro gaming and stuff, and cosplay and the other peripheries that come for these conventions weren't a massive thing. And it was just good to have literally just a room full of computers from literally old school Ataris to Xbox Ones and PlayStation 4s and stuff, and the whole in between independent gamers, independent game companies and stuff, and talking to everybody. And I thought it was so good, really impressed. 2 days, and I was buzzing off the whole thing.
I like retro gaming. Although all that ever happens whenever we find someone that has retro games is we wind up playing GoldenEye.
Yeah. Yeah, it's sort of a neat. I'm shit at GoldenEye though. I don't know. I'm generally good at FPSs, but yeah.
I used to be really good at GoldenEye, but if you give me an N64 controller now, you may as well be giving me a stick to use because it's about as useful as that whenever I get my hands on it.
But you look at the graphics, and this was the thing I was talking about the weekend. You sort of look at the graphics. For example, me and Gearston played a Terminator game on the original Xbox, and it's like back in the day when that was just out, you're like, wow, look at these graphics, it's all 3D and shit, and whoa. And then you look at it now, and you're like, wow, that's grim. It's really bad.
But it was Halo. They released Halo 1, but they remastered it. They've done it with Halo 2, but it had the function where you could
go
flip
back
it to see how it used to look, and you're like, oh, this looks pretty nice. It didn't look that bad back in the day, and you push a button and go, my god, this is awful.
Yeah, exactly. Yes. It's mad. It's just graphics in general, man. I was looking at games from when I grew up in the sort of 80s and early 90s and stuff, and I was like, wow, graphics, and have just come along so much.
I think it depends on the type of game as well, because I can still play Cool Spot, and Cool Spot still looks pretty good.
Yeah, well that's the thing is I'm not a graphics Nazi. I don't care.
Cool Spot.
Sorry, say it again.
Your go-to was Cool Spot.
I used to love Cool Spot, man. I played it. And the history of video games is one of the best video games you will ever play. That and Earthworm Jim, okay?
Earthworm Jim, brilliant.
Or James Pond, there you go, there's another one.
James Pond, wow. Toe Jam and Earl.
Toe Jam and Earl.
Right, so you've got cons coming up. I'm guessing you're going to be doing some music videos, or are you going to try something different?
Yeah, we've got one this weekend. So was it Winter London Film Comic Con? Film-wise, I think the other things we're working on as well is we're working on a couple of little short film ideas as well, which is pretty cool. There's one that we have been keeping uber secret, which is called Time's Up, which we're trying to kind of do in pre-production, which is really crazy because it's one of the biggest things we've ever shot on one day. Like the robot video, we did a BTS on it, and we said about how crazy it was because we had everything going on that one day, but this is a 3-day shoot, and there's a whole lot to it. We've got guys doing stunt choreography for us. We've got people making costumes. So it's going to be this big, awesome video, and that's kind of everything we're aiming for. Because what we're trying to do is make better stuff as well. Some of the stuff we've done sketches and we've done parodies where we've just filmed them in Gary's back garden, and Prop Wars was great, but it's how do we take that to the next level and make something really cool?
So you're obviously trying to push yourselves sort of kind of technically and size.
Just before this as well, I've just watched the first episode of VGHS season 3, with which is Freddie W, Rocket Jump, Jimmy Wong, Matlock, and guys, because they share an office space with Nerdist, we've got chatting to them before, and they've cameoed in our videos, and you know, Jimmy's in the robot video with us and stuff like that, and just seeing the stuff that they're making is like taking YouTube filmmaking to the next level, but also just being able to kind of go out there and make it and really, I mean, they're shooting on Reds and they're shooting with production teams and they're multi-episode and multi-location. So yeah, we're trying to work out how to.
I mean, I think it's the hard thing as well. Like that kind of then forces us to try and up our game, because then there's an expectation of, well, they did that. Like, why can't you guys? It's like, well, we want to. So now we're just trying to figure out how. I mean, the Witcher video, we really upped the quality of some of our stuff.
Yeah. I'm really proud of that as a production as well, because that was a little bit last minute as well, wasn't it? It was a little bit not thrown together, but.
I love the fact you compare that to anything else. Pretty much everything we make is the last minute thrown together.
There's actually been videos where we woke up that day and gone, oh, what about this idea? And just gone and filmed it. It goes sometimes.
Do you think that, like, obviously there's quite a lot of successful YouTube channels and people doing sort of similar things, that ups your game, that makes you want to do better, makes you want to strive to be better?
Definitely. I tell you, similar again with like Corridor Digital, always a great inspiration for us from filmmaking point of view. You know, like the Shadows of Mordor one they've just recently done is awesome. This 15-minute short, high production. They went out to, was it Utah? I think they went.
Yeah, they went out to Utah. That was they needed to cheat somewhere for New Zealand, and you can't do that in LA.
But yeah, I mean, like, you know, there's these guys that are making some amazing stuff, and like. One of the hardest is the financing side of things. You know, they're getting crazy amount of views on it, so they're able to go do it. But you know, we try and work out our best and improve every time. You know, each time, and hopefully kind of get there. Like, you know, the Geek Week robot video we've got coming up. Gary learned some new techniques and the video stuff, and hell, I've even learned a few little bits and bobs that I never knew beforehand. So it's, you know, I think that's the thing, is trying to move forward and always learn something from each shoot.
And basically, because, you know, there's always the thing, you know, oh, share our video and you know, please like it and stuff like that. It's not just because you want fame. It's because in the end you need the revenue that you get from this to be able to improve and get better videos in the long run.
Yeah, and I mean, there's only so much you can do for free, sadly. Like, you can get pretty far by, you know, we do a lot of stuff. We have no budget whatsoever. Like, we did a Mass Effect fan film that has multiple endings, and we had enough to buy people food. And whenever I say food, I mean we bought whatever was on discount at Tesco's. And like, our actors had tea on set, and we didn't bring any spoons, so somebody was taking their tea bag out with a ruler that we had in the car. And it's like, you know, just we get quite far with not a lot of money, but there comes a point where you have to kind of start paying people for stuff. So it's like, well, we need lenses to, you know, get more cinematic look. Okay, well, even if we're hiring lenses, that still is like £300 for, you know, 2 days of hiring. It's like, we don't have £300 for that, so now we have to find ways of doing it. But I think it's like anything, you can only go so far, and then you kind of have to start putting money down to go further. And it doesn't even have to be a lot of money, but yeah, like, definitely people sharing out and getting the revenue does help. But we always try and do everything. We'll stretch £1 as far as it can go.
That's what you have to, really.
Yeah.
That's the thing we always say, is like, you know, we don't hide the fact that obviously we've got adverts on our channel and stuff like that, but everything that gets made from Sneaky gets put back into Sneaky. You know, it's not something that we pay ourselves or anything like that. It's like, literally, there's been sets where we've paid everybody else, and, you know, there's us going hungry at the end of the day, because it's like, well, we do what we do to get it made. But I mean, that's the whole thing, you know, the more a video gets shared, the next project can be bigger and bigger and bigger, and hopefully we have actually shown that to a certain point. Like, our stuff has been getting better over the years, and that's what we're hoping for, at least.
Just to mention, Gary, whenever you talk, you're going all blank, and I think you've frozen out. So we got no video, we got no Gary, we got no Gary face, we got no gas, we got no gas.
You got my face.
Yeah, it's alright. I'll put a little picture of you with one of your selfies of you pointing at your face, being all sort of sexy and sort of, you know, fit and stuff.
Don't do that.
That's actually just sort of random, but you have, you know, you've really sort of kind of hit this sort of healthy living thing quite a lot recently, and you're looking pretty amazing, if I do say so myself. in a completely, sort of kind of platonic sort of way, of course. But why suddenly this big sort of like push just to sort of kind of go running every day and sort of get fit and stuff?
In fact, you know what? Because MCM's coming, it was last MCM that I kind of decided to start doing something. Basically, well, because we obviously
the last MCM where you made me sick to the point where I didn't want to live anymore.
Yeah. I love the fact I get the blame.
It's all your fault. You made me drink all of that.
I made you do nothing. I didn't pull a giant bottle of Jaeger out and go, let's do shots of Jaeger. That was you. And it's not my fault you couldn't handle what you were bringing on.
I couldn't, man. I have never felt so grim in my entire life. Like literally, I have nightmares of my lasting memory from that night after sort of like conking out and not remembering pretty much 3/4 of the night is standing over the sink in the kitchen with black vom coming out, Jaeger vom everywhere, and I was just like, yeah, that's Gary's.
Yeah, you know, if I'd known that would have been the thing that encouraged me to change my lifestyle. But no, it's funny. We put up a video the other day of like the Follow Friday thing, and I kind of recommended a bunch of stuff. And one of the things I recommended was the Nerdist podcast. And like on it, I was like, oh yeah, this podcast changed my life, and I didn't want to explain it. But basically, Matt Myra, who's on the podcast, had been kind of trying to be healthier and lose weight and, kind of doing stuff. And where I work, I listen to podcasts all the time, and I hadn't listened to the Nerdist for a few weeks. So I just had this bulk run of about 4 hours, 5 hours of just them talking about his kind of progress and him talking about the benefits of it and stuff. And it kind of drummed into my head, and I was like, oh, I can give that a whirl. And then I kind of started, and then I kind of really liked it.
So you obviously, like I go to the gym quite a lot sometimes. Not as much now because there's not one near me, but I used to go to the gym quite regularly. But running's a massive sort of kind of, I'm really bad with my cardio and stuff. For you, do you have to really push yourself, or does it just come naturally? It's like, yeah, I want to go for a run. It feels good to go for a run.
You know what? It's a kind of love-hate thing a lot, because to begin with, I hate it, and then I like it. So sometimes I'll just go, I'm going to go for a run, and I'll like enjoy. I enjoy it whenever I'm doing it, and I enjoy it after I've done it. But there are times, like the first mile, that I'm like, why am I doing this? I could be doing something else. And then like after that, I'm like, well, I've done a mile now. Let's just keep going, see how this plays out.
It's really impressive, man. Like I have to say, like obviously seeing you from even like a few months back to what you now, it's very impressive. It's inspirational, sir. It sort of kind of makes me. I started running.
I remember you posting up.
Yeah, I was like, and I have to admit, I haven't kept it going and stuff because I've been doing other things. But I have started running more because you started running, basically. I even started taking selfies of stuff with the finger like this.
the point.
The Gary selfie. I've just been running finger.
No, it's kind of weird because the selfie thing. Obviously I didn't do the pointing thing the entire time I started doing it, but after I did it the first time, I was like, well, if I post a selfie, then that's kind of a hey look achievement thing. Like I did a thing. I can like post it up, and then that kind of became the thing I just started to do. Is like, well, then I have to post a selfie. So if I don't use, so basically I mainly use Instagram for that because it's kind of a once I do this, I post a selfie, and then to myself that's I did it. I did a run, and then as opposed to like, 'cause I've got no goals. Like somebody was like, "Are you going to run a marathon?" And I was like, "Nope, don't want to run a marathon. Just want to be healthier. That's it. Just no goal or like no distance that I want to hit." Which was like the one I posted the other day, where I got back and then realised I'd accidentally run a 5K. Which if anybody had gone to me, "Do you want to run a 5K?" I would tell them to bugger off. Because that's never going to happen.
Run 5 kilometers.
I have this thing where like I have like a day off every now and again, but then I'll like try and do it. And I missed a couple of days, and I was like, I've got to make up for it. And I had like a short route that I'd run and a long route that I'd run. And I thought, well, I'll just merge the two routes and make up for the day I missed. And then realised I'd run just over 5K by the end of it, and just like, oh, crap, just accidentally done this. Like I was knackered, but like, hey, sense of achievement. But now I know how long that route is, so now I'm really upset because it's just like, if I run further than that, I'm going to know in my head I've run further than a 5K.
What about you, Nick? You always look pretty trim, to be honest. You're quite a tall chap. You always look quite sort of lean. So do you exercise?
I am the exact poster opposite of Gary.
It's all about the bacon.
Yeah, well, I'm just one of these people who's just always had like a high metabolism. I eat shit. I don't do particularly. I do like one bit of exercise a day. That's about it for me.
You were also the worst person to travel around America with if you're trying not to eat crap.
I mean, I say to Gary, and I apologise to him every time, right? I'm one of these people because I don't worry about what I'm eating and stuff like that. I don't really ever know what's good for me or what's bad for me, and like what. At one point, I didn't even know what a carb is. Like, I didn't learn what a carb is. So therefore, when someone says, "Oh, it's 5,000 carbs," I'm like, but and like I felt really bad because I'm very impulsive and I give into like my urges in terms of like I want a donut, I'm going to eat a donut, and then there's Gary like I'm going to eat this salad. I commend him for this. I mean, like I kept apologising. I got better.
He did get better. There was like every time he'd go, "Oh, we're just going to McDonald's," and I just stand there and look at him blankly, and just like, "We're not going to McDonald's? No, Nick, we're not going to McDonald's."
Oh man, I had McDonald's the other day, and it was the most glorious thing I've ever eaten in my entire life. I had because I've been living off chicken, fish, and seed bread forever, and I had McDonald's on Saturday after Play Expo, and I was like, "This is the best thing!" I just shoved my face in it and just went.
I had whenever we were in America, there was one place we went to, and I thought I'll get dessert for like the first time, and I hadn't had chocolate in about 3 months, and I ate this thing, and it was the equivalent of like blue meth. The only thing I could equate it to. It was that good.
There were star streaks going behind him all of a sudden.
I think the worst part is that we kind of had that towards the end of the day, and we were really tired. Obviously, like my sugar intake that my body was used to was so low that all of a sudden I hit it with this chocolate cake, and I was awake for about 9 hours from just that one little thing.
The one thing I do need to start trying to eat healthy for is skin issues. I've always been quite prone to spot outbreaks, but that's the one thing I'm trying to change at the moment. That's one of the reasons why I'm changing mine. So Gary's doing it for weight reasons. I'm trying to do it for skin reasons, and as you said, like it's quite inspirational what he's been doing on it. I'm not going to be posting selfies though. Fuck that. The market on it. You can't, maybe 2 hands or maybe a foot up. I know you got
to do something different, man. You got to something.
No, the pointing thing. I don't even know how that kind of came about as a thing.
It is your thing. It is a thing, man. If I get a selfie with you and your finger's not sort of in that direction, going like this, then. I'm not liking that picture. That's not getting a like from me.
We've got the sneaky selfie coming up this weekend, haven't we? So
we've been doing
people getting pointing fingers as possible.
LFCC, I kind of abandoned you for a while, didn't I? And then like you check the Twitter feed, and there was like 15 posts of people in pictures with me just pointing at them.
The thing is, like all the sneaky zebra posts go through on my phone, or it did it, and so like I get these tweet accounts of fucking Gary's face whilst I'm standing next.
Me with random people that ran up to me on the street.
Do you think that's weird? Obviously, because I get it sometimes when I'm sort of like at certain conventions and stuff. People who know you from what you do, and they come up to you and they're like talking to you, like know you, and you're like, I don't know who you are. And you feel rude.
I try not to be rude, like 'cause I kind of sit there, and it's really nice. I love the fact people watch it. Sometimes they pick the wrong time to kind of come and have a conversation. It's like, I would love to talk to you, but like, what is the quickest method we can do this so I can carry on doing the other stuff? Like, I think the strangest one we ever had was we did PAX, and on the way to PAX Prime, we had a stopover flight to change over to get to Seattle. And while we were queuing up to get our ticket, this guy came over to us and he was like, "Oh, you're a sneaky zebra. I love your you're sneaky zebra. I love your videos, man." And like, and we were like, "Oh yeah, great." It was really nice. And then like, we got on the plane or whatnot, and then I think Nick was on the phone to his bank trying to sort out his card, and I was waiting at the luggage carousel, and the guy came back over and he goes, "I was going to ask you guys at PAX, but I'm not going to do the American voice again, but I was going to ask you guys at PAX to sign something for me," and I was like, "Oh," he goes, "Would you mind doing it now?" And I was like, "Yeah." And he pulled out an Xbox 3. full like Xbox 360 and just handed it to me with a Sharpie to sign.
Wow.
Which is just the strangest thing ever, because I stood there and I was like, I don't know how to sign something. Just, how do you do this?
But then also we had like, what was it? Because like we were in the middle of an airport as well, so there was people looking at us like, who the fuck are these guys?
Standing at this carousel signing an Xbox.
Well, I suppose, do you feel like that guy when you talk to people who you respect? So you're in the Nerdist office and you see these people like, Wong and stuff. You're like, oh my god, can you sign my shoe or something? Do you feel like you're that guy when you're talking to them?
A little bit. We met Jessica Chobot.
I love her. I love her.
She is amazingly cool.
Amazing. We were watching one of the Nerdist News episodes get filmed, and then like after, and it was proper like, hi, we like your stuff and stuff. So.
I love her, seriously, man. Since she used to do the Xbox Live stuff, and she's amazing.
Yeah,
amazing.
But
I love you, I love you.
But yeah, no, it's kind of weird. Like we had like at FantasyCon, we had a couple of girls like proper scream and slightly hyperventilate and.
Oh, I had that at LFCC as well. I was walking around with one of those Paul, one of our friends, and we were walking around, and this girl ran up in front of me and Paul and just stopped. And obviously how crowded LFCC was, just stopped, arms spread wide, and she went, 1 minute. And then she kind of turned her back to me and Paul as we were kind of standing there going, what's going on? And it was the most kind of adorable thing. She went, can I picture? And I was like, yeah, sure. So I took a picture of her, and I was like, it's fine. She was like, thank you so much. And then just ran off into the crowd. And I was just like, that was really cool, but I'm just a normal human being. I'm just
a man.
I'm no need to hyperventilate. As like, if anything, I'm so not important. Look at all the famous people that are here.
Oh man, no, you're an inspiration, both of you. I think you are. I think I've known you for 2-3 years now. I guess maybe as long as Geek Pride's been around, maybe 2. How long have I known you guys for?
It's got to be a good couple of years.
The first video I saw of yours was the one, almost the Death Star one. Is basically you've got like the glitter ball.
Oh shit!
And the car lots.
Yeah, that one there. That was one of the few videos where like I think I had to pitch that to Nick twice before you let me do it.
Well, I didn't know the reference, did I, at the time? It was was it the Windows? No, it was the Apple.
Yeah, the Apple Genius video. And basically my rule of thumb is I watch something, go, can I Star Wars it, and then I Star Wars it. Which is like, but that was one of the cool parts of like doing that was whenever we were at Nerdist, they had the Cantina set. Yeah, from Thing, and they were like, "Do you guys want to film something?" And I had no idea what to do on that, did I? And then one of our friends we were staying with went, "Have you ever seen It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia?" And I was like, "No." He showed me one episode and one clip, and then I wrote a script.
that was
real
one,
knowledge job.
It's that one you did for Nerdist was It's Always Sunny in Tatooine. Is that what?
It was Always Sunny on Tatooine, yeah.
Yeah. That was all our one. It wasn't, although Nerdist, because they had the set and they were like, it's getting torn down in 2 days' time. Do you want to film on it? It's like, this is one of those things that we when film something like fucking dancing on the bar. We have to film something at the Cantina set. It was crazy.
So what out of everything you've done in 4 years, what has been your highest point and what has been your lowest point? Actually, start with your lowest point and then we'll go to the highest point.
The lowest. You mean in terms of just a video, or?
Yeah, well, anything. This point where you just thought maybe fuck this, man. I can't be bothered with this anymore, or even just a shit video that you just thought.
I think there was the one video where we kind of. I think the video that maybe it makes me laugh, and it is the worst thing ever. And I'm sorry, Nick, because you as Toast Man or whatever it was.
I like Toast Man. I think that's quality. Nick, I like Toast Man. Don't listen to him. That's a really good. I laughed out loud.
We woke up that morning. We were like, we've got to film something. It's been a couple of weeks since we put something up. We've got to film something. And
then Nick suggested, well, what if it's like, I was like, what if we do a superhero? And it was like, and then eventually the only thing we come up with was the butter, and I can't believe it's not butter thing. And then oh, we shot it, and it just.
I liked it. You know, I'm quite easily amused, but yeah, I enjoyed that one. Yeah, I thought it was quite amusing.
I don't know what other ones. I can't even think of our videos now. Which ones I've not like. I mean, there's a few that I've not, or I've got issues with it. I think, to be honest, somewhere along the line, I've got issues with a lot of our videos. But then that's just because I've watched them and go, oh, we could do this better next time, or we could do this better.
But yeah, you think that's because other people will like them, whereas you, because you're from, you've watched it a million times, you've seen the same clips over and over again, and you're just like, I hate this. I hate this.
Yeah. Well, like I'll have a think. I might have another one.
Okay. What about your high point? No, actually, no. Was there any point, in the 4 years where you've just turned around and going, fuck this, I'm not going to bother with this anymore. It's too much hard work. I'm not getting anything out of it, and screw it. Or have you always powered through?
There's not really been a point fully like that. There's been a few points where I've kind of sat there and gone, why am I spending all of this time doing all of this, all these effects and stuff? But there's other times where it's kind of the complete opposite, where there's a kind of sense of achievement afterwards whenever you put something up, and then if one person enjoys it, so you like Butterman, that now makes Butterman pretty cool.
Yes. I don't think there's a video I've seen of yours I don't like. I'm not sort of blowing smoke up your arse. They're always amusing, or they're well done, and it's just I think for you think you maybe could improve on it. That's a bad idea, but there's a lot of people who sort of kind of would love to do something like that. And it's good.
I think there was the Time Lord one is just slightly more just. We did the Doctor Who one where Nick, how many years did you try and get me to do this damn video for?
It was probably a good 2 years. I came up with this really stupid line. It's Time Lord one where basically instead of time as in T-I-M-E, it's T-H-Y-M-E as in the herb, Time Lord.
Yeah.
And the whole joke is that he's coming out with his own ranges of herbs and spices, and it's called the Time Lord. And that was it. That was it. I just had it stuck in my head.
And he brought it up so many times that I basically gave in after like a year and a half. I think David Tennant was the Doctor when you first pitched it to me, and Matt Smith was near the end of his run when we did it.
But yeah, no, I mean, there has been some tough times. I mean, like we were saying earlier on, we don't earn out of this. So there's been times where we'd love to have done something, but we couldn't get the money, or we couldn't get a location, or stuff like that. So there has been some real fucking tough times, and there's been times where like me and Gary would just argue to each other's face. But the thing is like we've known each other since we were kids. So kids, but like since we were at school together. So 10 minutes later down the line, we'll be like, fancy a beer? Yeah, all right, sort it out. But
there's no beer anymore, though.
There's no beer anymore.
Beer equals calories equals carbs.
Fancy some H2O?
Yeah. And let's go for a jog afterwards.
Like for me as well, this is a bit of a personal bit, but like I can always bounce off Gary, and he's always been kind of an inspiration for me. So it's like no matter how fucking struggling I am, it's like okay, cool. Well, he'll come on, let's do this. Let's sort this out, or vice versa. But like. On the exact opposite, at High Point, I tell you, it's got to be at the moment. It's got to be the next video because it's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. We got a giant robot in it that got built for YouTube. We got Stan Winston's school. We got Legacy Effects. We got Noodle Studios. And do you know one of the kind of really coolest things is we've given them a preview, so they've already seen this film, and they filmed themselves watching it. And seeing like Matt Winston's face light up and laugh at some of the really ridiculous jokes was just you sit there and go, cool. This is what we're doing it for. This is the rewards that we're getting now.
And that's coming out in a few weeks. Time.
Hopefully, relatively. Well, it'll come out when it comes out at this point. But yeah, it's going to be some point super soon.
Super soon. You heard it here first. Yeah. Super soon.
I think what was I had to pick like a high point one. I don't know what's. The robot one, I absolutely love the robot one. But, I think one of the high points for me was, like, before Sneaky Zebra, we had one called Firefly, it was me and my friend Pete. And one of the things that kind of made us want to do YouTube videos was watching Freddie Wong stuff. So getting to shoot an action video with Freddie Wong was a pretty massive highlight of any YouTube stuff ever. Especially having him do random shit I came up with at 3 o'clock in the morning the night before. Of just that the Wong Way video is basically, it's a bit like your Time Lord one, Nick, where I kind of built a whole video around a terrible pun.
Was that you? I was like,
I
wrote it the wrong way because obviously
I pitched it to him and I wrote an apology on the front of the script to say, please
I'm sorry
if I'm being offensive. And luckily they were like, no, seriously, man, we've heard every single Wong joke you can bring up. To the point where I didn't write the second joke that's in it. Jimmy came up with that on the spot. So we rolled camera, and the camera ran up to him, and he was just supposed to give like a nod or something. We had sound rolling. He was like, "You got sound rolling?" He goes, "Yeah, it's okay. We'll go with it." And we ran up and like filmed him, and he just went, "Two Wongs, make it right." And then and there's me, Nick, and the sound guy trying to stay as quiet as possible whilst the three of us were cracking up.
Trying to hold the camera still with like bursting of laughing.
Yeah, keeled over like, oh my god.
And Freddie did it as well, because at the end bit where Freddie's saying like all these stories about the name Wong, and none of that is like written or planned. Like Freddie just went roll the camera, and he just kept going. There's a whole, I think, 2 minutes of that stuff I've never put up online where he just keeps rambling about the name Wong. It's genius stuff. I might put that in the behind the scenes if I ever do it.
Should do. Right, gentlemen, we've been going for about an hour now, and I really wish we could carry on forever because it's really awesome talking to you. It's very natural. We will finish with a bit of sage-like advice from each of you. It can be about anything. It can be about, obviously, filmmaking. It can be about whatever you want. We'll start with you, Nick. A bit of sage-like advice for your fans out there, for the Geek Pride followers, for anybody.
I've said this a lot recently, and I think I say it a lot as well because I'm kind of had some issues personally this last year, which has kind of stifled it, but I'm trying to use it as a bit of a self-motivation, which is just go out there and make it. If you're into anything, whether it be a costume, music, video, art, whatever, if it's something you enjoy doing, just go out there and make it and get it done. And then, hell, it doesn't have to be the best piece. It could be Butterman, but, we learned something from Butterman and we moved on.
Butterman. It's an awesome video. I won't hear anything bad against Butterman ever again.
but yeah, that's the main thing. Is just you guys just go out there and make what you're passionate about and do it as much as you can. Simple as that.
Brilliant. And Gary?
I think mine's probably pretty much along the same lines. I think I posted something on Facebook a while back where was whenever anybody asked me about why I was kind of losing weight and what motivated me, and I kind of came to the realization that, and it's kind of my own thing, which is that we gauge everything like success and failure, and you go, oh well, I failed this time, so I'll fail the next time and this time, but the thing you got to do is always try. So sometimes you try and everything works out, other times you fail, but if you never try and do something, you're already failing at doing anything. So my advice to anybody is just try. If you think you can't do something, try. Maybe you can't do it, which is, odds are you can. There's nothing stopping anybody else from getting a camera and going out there and making stuff, or writing scripts and doing stuff, or, if they want to be a musician. There's musical talent, which I have heaps of. I mean, we heard me rap before this.
That was the best rap ever, ladies and gentlemen. Seriously, that shit should be recorded and sold on iTunes.
I rap once in a video. I will never do it again. I think my biggest thing is definitely go out and do stuff. I think Nick's basically summed it up as well. Is I take my methodology a lot from Kevin Smith, which is nobody else is going to make stuff. So if you sit there and go, I want to see a video about a guy who can tell the difference between butter and I can't believe it's not butter and he's a superhero, no one else is going to make that thing, so you may as well be the people to go out and make it, whether it be good or bad. Because as long as you enjoy what you're doing, then that's the key thing. Never make anything for everybody else, make it for yourself.
Brilliant. Okay, guys. Well, it has been an absolute pleasure. I've really enjoyed this. It's been amazing. Thank you very much for taking time out of your busy schedules to be a part of this. And hopefully I will see you at MCM in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, Jaeger time.
Jaeger time. I've got a bottle of Jaeger as well.
No, you haven't. No, you haven't.
I do, Gary. I do. I've got a bottle of Jaeger, I'm sure.
I thought he was joking.
I'm not joking. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, that has been Nick, and that has been Gary from Sneaky Zebra. Legends as they are, I've been Matt Geary for Geek Pride.